With me is Syrian President Assad's advisor, Buthaina Shaban. She is in Delhi right now meeting with officials. Ms. Shaban, if I could just start with the UN Human Commission for Refugees is now saying that more than 1 million refugees have fled from Syria. We're looking at pictures coming in of fairly difficult times the Syrian people are having, just trying to even leave their belongings and just leave in the night to a lot of danger. Is the situation really out of control?
No, the situation is not out of control, but it is normal, I think, when there are clashes and there is fighting and people are terrified and they are afraid for their safety or for their children's safety, to try and go and find a safe haven. And whether the number is 1 million or 500,000 or 200, I don't know. I don't think anybody has the real statistics. But that's why the suffering of the Syrian people is what is inviting us to try our very best to put an end to this horrible situation today before tomorrow. That's why the Syrian government kept saying we need a political solution today. We need to start dialogue tomorrow, because this is the only solution when Syrian people can come back home and to safety and with their integrity.
But it is the Syrian government that's being blamed for a lot of the excesses. There are human rights groups that say that it is President Assad's government that is bombing its own people, missile strikes in various parts of Syria. What really is that situation on the ground?
I think it has become now clear to the world that the war against Syria started with a media war. Unfortunately, the media is playing a very negative role about what is happening in Syria, and it has been targeting Syria, and lots of fabrications and a lot of things that are not true that are being said in the media. I don't think anybody can tell you what is the situation exactly in the entire of Syria, but I think most countries now are confident that what's happening in Syria is partly, at least, Al-Qaeda and Jabhat al-Nusra and mercenaries with a lot of armament and a lot of financing from countries that are outside Syria. So when they say there's no military intervention in Syria, I say it's happening, because the money, the armament, the mercenaries are all there, coming across the borders from Turkey. And unfortunately, this war aims at destroying Syria. It doesn't aim to change the president. It doesn't aim to have democracy. Until now, 3,800 schools had been destroyed. 1,800 factories had been dismantled. Our roads had been destroyed. Our pipelines have been destroyed. It is a war against the infrastructure of Syria and against the Syrian people.
All right, you are saying the rebels are being armed from outside. In fact, most of these countries, the US, the UK, France, they're all making it very clear. If President Assad goes, if he steps down, then they will work towards a peaceful solution inside Syria. Why doesn't the president step down?
Well, because saying that is just like saying create a total havoc, a total chaos, and then you enter paradise. That's really what it says. Why should any president in the world step down on the behest of what other countries do? Is this democracy? Or democracy is that the Syrian people should decide who their president is and what is the political system in Syria. So
They also say President Assad is over-exaggerating the risks after he leaves. You spoke about the Jabhat al-Nusra and other groups that are active over there. Many in the West saying really that even if President Assad goes, women, minorities will continue to be safe, that many within the Free Syrian movement are democratic, secular people.
Forget about what they say and let me tell you what is happening. In Homs, my city, there were 500,000 Christians. Now there aren't 100 Christians in Homs. And they keep saying on the media, Christians are safe, women are safe, minorities are safe. Let them go to Syria and see what's happening to women now, what's happening to minorities, what's happening to Christians, and then they should speak.
All right, you are in India, speaking with Indian officials as well. What is the way forward from here? We've seen many attempts at peace that have failed so far, a ceasefire that fell apart. What is it that Syria expects from India? What can they do?
We expect from India, both as a friendly country, as a chair of the BRICS, to support a political solution for the crisis in Syria. That is to support the Geneva Accord and to support the initiative that President Assad gave on the 6th of January, which is built in the spirit of Geneva Accord, which is to stop violence immediately because over 100 persons are killed every day, to move into a table of dialogue, to release political prisoners, and to review whatever needs to be reviewed about the political situation in Syria, mainly to support Geneva Accord, to support Russia and China for a political solution in Syria and for stopping this horrible war that is launched against our country and against our people.
More than 50 to 70,000 people may be dead. We're seeing that 1 million figure of refugees. Ms. Butaina, the question really, are you hopeful that there will be a solution? Because most people are predicting nothing but civil war for Syria.
Well, if I'm not hopeful, I can't go on working. I have to be hopeful, and we have to keep trying to stop this horrible war. But you know what I feel? I feel that those countries who say they are not arming the armed groups, and they are arming the armed groups, they do not care at all about our people. I say to the entire world, Syrian women, Syrian minorities, Syrian people, Syria is in need of peace. And the first thing is to stop this war. Please be honest in trying to stop this war.
All right. Finally, the Venezuelan president, Hugo Chavez, has died. Of course, many had talked about the Damascus, Caracas, and even the Tehran nexus. Many also saying that with his death, so many of the leaders who took on the Western powers seem to have died or lost power. Fidel Castro, Saddam Hussein, Muammar Gaddafi, all now gone. What kind of impact do you think his death is going to have?
First of all, I offer my condolences not only to the people of Venezuela, but to the entire world, because Hugo Chavez is a world leader and a world character. He inspired millions of people all over the world. I think he's a second Bolivar. I don't think he will die. And I think Latin America will produce other leaders like Hugo Chavez to carry on with his heritage. We are in Syria very proud of our relation with Chavez and with Venezuela, and we shall continue to do so.